G'day, hi, and welcome. All right, this is kind of different. You can actually see me. All right, tonight is jam night, and it's about 7:30, and I'm just not really warming up, but I usually give the vehicle a minute or two to kind of do its thing. Usually, like last year when I started doing the jam nights, it was a lot later in the season, so by now it was usually dark. Right now we're May 29th. At the making of this video, like that, and the days are getting brighter. I know the camera angle's not the best. It's the best you're going to get right now. Okay, so here's what I going on. So this is jam night number 2 this year. I'll put that there so you guys put the lights on. This poor vehicle's so dirty. And jam night number 2, I got my guitar, the Ibanez AL10. I like making these kind of road blog videos. They stoke me up, and it does two things for me when you're doing that. Like if you're going to go to a jam night, let's say you got to go and it's like an hour drive, like for me. Get in here. And yeah, you want to warm up your vocals. One of the best things you can do is just start blabbing about everything. It's a nice, easy way to, it's not the same as going, oh, and all that stuff, but it does work to kind of keep your vocals kind of warmed up. So especially tonight I will be singing songs from Trasas, which I can't wait. I gotta honk at somebody. Oh, he's not out. My cousin's not out. My cousin has betrayed me. He's not out to, oh, there's my aunt. I'll let my aunt go. Not worried about her driving, but I guess she wants me to go. Oh, that's my cousin. There's my cousin. Keep it out of the ditch. I should have honked at him. That's what the horn's for. I'm not used to honking. I'm not used to using the horn for like legitimate purposes. On this thing, it's like I honk at everybody to wave at them, but when it comes to an emergency, it's like, what do I do? Oh yeah, I can use the horn. That's what it's for. So I got this beluga thing on there. But anyway, so I'm going to be doing something really interesting tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know how it's going to go. This is going to be one of those 50-50 win bigs, lose bigs. I don't think it's going to. I think either people are going to be into it or they're not going to be into it. And if they're not into it, they're not into it. But I don't think I'm not going to get booed off the stage or whatever. But I'm going to be this is probably the heaviest I'm going to play. Maybe, well, I don't know, because heavy is a relative term when you're talking about acoustic, right? But fast and high energy, I don't think this will be the fastest stuff I've played. I do tend to play way too fast live. I know that. I'm working on not being quite so fast, but it's usually because I'm a rock and roll metal guitar player, and I wouldn't call myself a heavy metal guitar player like by today's standards. Not that I don't like this stuff, but it just most of my genres are like 1990s Skid Row kind of metal, a little bit of Metallica, like the Black Album kind of metal. So we're not talking like speed metal or anything like that. It's not that I don't like it. Obviously, it's the opposite. I love this stuff. And I go in spurts, but when I play, I'm thinking of, okay, what can I get away with live? And I know speed metal isn't really something you can get away with at any venue. Like, you really have to have the people wanting that, or else that's the problem with the metal genres in the first place. But now, stuff has become so progressively heavier over the years that you can basically play a lot heavier than what you used to, say, 20, 30 years ago. I remember 30 years ago, maybe, I don't want to say 30 years ago. I don't want to say, and 3, 2, 1. There. It's past my friend's place. I don't want to say 30 years ago, but whatever the 1990s was. I don't want to say 30 years ago. I don't want to say that. I just don't want to do it. I don't care. Age gracefully, right? But yeah, back then, I remember the first time we played Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth live, and we got away with it. And we had people dancing too. That's the part that blew me away, was all the chicks dance, the hot. Oh man, I still remember them. Like they were that Miss Saturday Nights, Mrs. Saturday Nights, right? They were just they were so beautiful. I've seen them all just, dancing on the floor like that. You would think, okay, what's metal? only the dudes are going to get up and mosh pit or something at best, right? I figured, well, maybe they'll just like the theme. But no, they danced to that. They danced to a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, who's that? Who's that? There we go. Out walking the little one. Grandma out walking the little one. But anyway, back then it was kind of taboo to play. I mean, we went from Symphony of Destruction to Peace Sells, not too far along. I love playing Peace Sells. I can't remember how to play it now, but we played it 2 or 3 times, and it was the Peace Sells, but who's buying? Peace Sells, but who's buying? So you're really, really rocking it out, and that's not for everybody, right? Of course, back in the 90s, the big thing to be edgy was play Rage Against the Machine, right? What was the song? What's it called? Bleep you, I won't do what you tell me. That one. What the hell was the name of that song? Whatever it was called, anyway. That was the edgy song to do. You did that song and you were the badasses. That, you didn't care about the rules, right? Then you have these other guys there going, oh, those guys? Yeah. That's elevator music. We're playing Slayer. But it was like they had like 2 venues they could play Slayer at. That was it, maybe 3, And even at that, it was like, okay, yeah, they'll let you play there once, and you'll never play there again, even if you didn't do too bad. It's just like, oh, you're too risky for our bar. You're going to clear our bar, and we're not going to make, If you cleared a bar, okay, if you were a musician and you cleared somebody's bar, right, you would basically be costing them a lot of money, considering how much, especially now today with what it costs to keep an established open for a night. Like some places, they have to make 30 grand a night to keep the place open. Think about that. That's not most places. Most places, maybe it's like, okay, we have to make 300 to 600 a night to break even. Some might be 175, depending where they are, right? And but anyway, so the thing is that while this is going on, like tonight, I'm going to be introducing a metal genre to this establishment through acoustic. Now, the thing is that I'm cheating, so I will be introducing it as metal, but it's going to be more like metal ballads, right? So, except for the middle song. The middle song is going to be pretty high-strung. The Teresa's Rasputin song. So that one, you can't call that one a ballad at all. That one's pretty rocking. But on the acoustic, it comes up pretty hyper. I can see people getting up and dancing to this if they're into it. Now, if the night is just a complete, everybody up ahead of me is playing folk or jazz or country or really mellow ballads, then I can divert back to the other songs. Something rough going on here. I don't know what's going on. Don't like it anyway. Hopefully it's just the roads. Best not to think about it. But anyway, sorry, this is an old vehicle, right? So, yeah. But anyway, the thing is that I'm like, okay, what would be a good introduction to metal? Well, obviously tonight I'm going to be singing 2 chick songs, sort of. They're metal songs, but they're like, one is Nightwish, Nemo. I just think that is such a freaking awesome song to begin with. It doesn't matter if a guy's singing and a girl. Yes, I got to alter the lyrics a little bit for a guy's voice or whatever, and that. And then on the other hand, there's Call of the Mountains from Evoluti. Both songs are about 10 years old, which is nice that they're not older than that. And then, of course, the Teresa's song is about 8 or 10 years old. And same thing. Yeah, so if I'm looking around, it's just I'm wondering, again, I'm not used to driving with the heat off, which makes a lot of extra sound, so I'm just trying to get used to the spring sounds of my vehicle. So if I look a little bit paranoid, that's what it is. Yeah, so anyway, long story short, I'm going to introduce, I'm going to try to make it as fun as possible. I'm going to try to get a sing-along with the Teresa song. Definitely, holy geez, I guess the speed limit's not enough for this guy. All these guys in the big trucks, eh? I don't know how anybody can afford to drive that fast. I just put $25 of gas in this thing today, and that was 17 liters of gas. That's it for $25. It's not very good, right? And this guy, holy geez, he's already like about a half mile ahead of me. Yeah, like all these big trucks, big 8s driving at like 120, 140. That's like, they must be making some money that I'm not making, that's for sure. I mean, I barely scraped up enough money to do this, do the gig, you know, do the jam night. That said, I haven't heard back from the gig guys yet. Sometimes it takes a couple of days, even a week, before they get back at you, because they could be getting overloaded with emails this time of year too. So, you know, my goal now is just to set myself up for, if I get a gig in June, a couple of paying gigs in June, I'll be very happy, but I'll be lucky if I can have anything rolling out for late July, August, right? A lot of places are already booked up for the summer. It's just, you know, I'm a little late to the start of the season. Really what you should be doing is booking your summer stuff in the winter if you want to get some playing gigs. But there's two good hopefuls. One is very good if I can get that gig, and I'll tell you about it a little later on. But the thing is like this, I'm going to be trying a different genre tonight. And what I would always tell people is, you know, especially if you're new at jam nights, okay, the first thing is it takes about 3 songs to get people into a mood. Roughly 3 to 8 songs depending on the crowd. And if you're in a place that usually people are used to every band playing the same songs from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s type of stuff, it really, you know, because they could sing along and dance along, but the problem is everybody's played those songs to death, right? So they have a good time just because they're out, and not only because they're out, but that they know the songs well. And, you know, there's that old, I'll let them go. And, yeah, so you do get that. But then there's also the, yeah, I'll cut this guy off. There's also the, you know, the angle that when you play something new, people might not be as animated while you're playing like something they don't know, because they're not going to sing along with a song they don't know. They might not dance to the song until halfway through the song, because it's like by the time they realize they can dance to the song, it's like they got to put down their beer, they got to tuck away their coat, they got to do this, they got to do that, they got to do all this stuff, right? I got some tractor trailers taking up both sides of the road. This is going to be a tight squeeze. Please don't take my mirror off. Well, he's on his side. He's good. He's good. Almost had to use the horn there. Not really. But anyway, you get what I'm getting at. Like, so the first song, they're like, okay, well, you prime them up. Okay, now they're paying attention. The second song, it's a little different. They're now primed up, ready to go, but they don't know what the next song is. So by this time, they're rounding up their friends and all that. By the third song, they're usually ready to party, right? If you're going to go that route. Now, it's the same thing if you're going to try to mellow the night out. You start out the night too hyper, then everybody's expecting hyper for the whole night. If you start out the night too mellow, it could be too much of a jump, taking them from, I'm sitting down eating my meal, just listening to something kind of jazzy in the background, and or bluesy or just really soft, you know, soft music in the background, to like, you know, blah, 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 cha, cha, cha kind of music that I'm going to be doing, right? So that you gotta factor that in. That's why sometimes when you go on a jam night, it's like you do the song and people are a little bit shocked on not from the song's content or anything like that, but they're a little bit genre shocked, as I call it, where it's like, yeah, I guess this is good. Yeah, okay, well, we were mellow, but I guess it's picking up, whatever. And sometimes they're hooting all right away. They know the song, but if they don't know the song, there might be a little bit of a delay after you finish the song and then you get a clap or whatever. And that could be a little bit awkward for musicians. Just, it's something to anticipate. Don't take it personally. It's just they don't know the song and maybe they're not completely ready to dial into you yet. And so just play the song the best you can play it. That said, the guy after you gets to kick the can further down the road, meaning if you go at it with the idea of the guy before you, okay, primes you up. So if you get somebody really hyper before you, you could take the night up. If you want to dial it back a bit for the guy after you, you could do that too. If you want to keep it somewhere, okay, where it's not just completely ballady, sad, crying in your beer type of music, somewhere in between, you can do that too. But if you're jumping from crying in your beer, really sad music, really slow, really melodic music, ballady type stuff, which tends to happen a lot at jam nights, it's just, one epic ballad after another, then everybody just kind of, and there's a problem with that too, because that usually clears the room very quickly. You know what I mean? Like the first guy that plays the 3 beautiful romantic ballads, everybody likes it. The third, okay, that's good. And then, by the second, yeah, it's good. Okay, there's 6 songs in a row that are ballads, right? And then by the third, it's like, okay, well, just the people that are going to just cozy in for the night are going to stay. The rest are going to go look for the party somewhere else. Now, that said, if you start the night off with a party, which the people playing tonight, the guy's name is Mark Favely. I probably pronounced his last name wrong. I apologize if I did. But he's usually pretty hyper. So it doesn't matter if somebody's quiet after him. He's played there a gazillion times, and every time he does, he's a party. This guy, I can almost guarantee drums, bass, and whatever raunchy instruments are going to come in, and there's going to be some probably rocking and rolling, but probably old-time rock and roll, but rock and roll nonetheless, which will still fit for what I'm doing. Metal ballads will see, old-time rock and roll. Think like Bob Seger, old-time rock and roll, something like that, seaming into an acoustic version of Nemo will blend perfectly, because the tempo is roughly around the same, the genres, hey, there's 3 black horses there. And they're all in the mud, nobody can tell. Ah, clever horses. Anyway, sorry, ADD kicking in there. But anyway, yeah, so you could seam it, and that's kind of what you're wanting to do. So if you want to play 3 songs, like I just really want to knock these songs out. I don't really even care what my response is going to be. By now, when people usually see me, usually what happens is people that really want to keep it quiet, they usually go outside. They're like, yeah, that guy's always really loud. Even with the nights where I'm thinking I'm going to be playing the softest songs there, and it's like, I'm still the loudest guy. So that says a lot. I'm a loudmouth, right? I'm always screaming and yelling in the mic, even on my soft songs, right? But it's pretty good. Like, for example, not last week, but a couple of weeks ago when I went, I played Dolphins Cry from Live, Use Somebody, or Somebody from Kings of Leon. That one got a really good response. There was chicks in the back going, oh yeah! That always makes me feel good when I hear people get engaged with the tune, right? And then I did what I thought was going to be completely epic, and I thought I brought it up just at the right level. I did Jeremy, and yeah, nobody really responded. I thought I did a really good version. I did do a really good version of Jeremy. It's not that I didn't do a good version, but it was too heavy for them. It was just, and then Isabel got up after me. I felt rude because I had to leave early. I usually like to catch a couple of people's songs. I don't like leaving when somebody's just going up on stage, but it was just the way it worked out. I had to leave early. But tonight I'm going to stay the whole night for sure. But the thing is, she's a lot more mellow than me. Mind you, what she rocks pretty good. But she's a more folk-oriented, Aretha Franklin. She does some Chilean songs, which are pretty. I think they're her own songs. They're rocking, but they're not high tempo, right? So, but again, fantastic music. I'm not dissing this girl by any stretch, but she's a fantastic musician. But that's a little bit of a genre shock going from me to her, or vice versa, right? So the thing is you can seam it from one to the next. But for the thing is I'm not really worried about the person behind me. I hope that they're gonna be more lively, because that's why I usually wait till near the end of the jam night to go up. It's because I know I'm going to be the loudest person there. I'd rather finish the night with the loud guys than the quiet guys, right? So all those guys, and I'm not dealing in a place where everybody there's a rookie playing Patience and every rose has its thorn. Like I've yet to hear that in there. I was kind of surprised I haven't yet. But although these are musicians, so these people have an act that they've been doing for a long time. Which one thing I do notice is I've And I get this compliment every now and then. They're like, Reg, man, you have such a genre, such a genre that you do, and you always have something new. Like, almost everybody that I've seen play there usually plays their same songs over and over. That's why they get the hooting and hollering. Everybody's super. They've been playing the same 3 tunes for the past 6 months. You know, they might change it up once in a while, but it's like maybe the same 9 tunes. I don't do that because, number one, to me, the goal of a jam night is to challenge myself. Singing Nightwish is a challenge. Singing Evoluti is a challenge, especially when you're switching from a female vocalist to a male vocalist. I can't do what they do. I would bust a nut trying to do it, right? But they're great songs, and I'm going to do them because I think they're going to resonate. The song I'm most interested to see how it goes over tonight is Call of the Mountains. I'm really hoping that one goes over good because there's some yodeling in it, and it's a good metal folklore song. I just really like it. And I've been wanting to play it for a long time now, and everything just kind of came together this week with it, with those 3 songs. It seemed like it took me forever to get them, not get them down, but just get around to working on them. So that's the songs I want to play tonight. But I've basically propped myself up so much to play these songs tonight that I almost refuse not to play them. You know what I mean? Regardless, so I'm like, okay, well, I just want to get it going. So if the person ahead of me is really, really mellow, I'll take the risk. You know, see how what I expect is if the person ahead of me is really, really mellow, what'll happen is I might be too lively for them. But the way the Nemo song starts off, it's very, very ballady the way I do it. So by the end of the song, it's pretty, you're bashing on the guitar pretty good, thrashing pretty fast, and it sounds really, really good. I'm just hoping to translate live, as long as I don't mess up. As long as I do my job and the guitar's in tune, everything will fall in place. I know my job, right? And tell yourself that before you go up. If you're one of those people that get a little bit nervous or anxious or whatever, and that happens too. Sometimes you just get a little bit hyper, which makes you. That's my problem. I get too hyper. I get too freaking hyper, and then I play too fast. So I got to watch my tempo on the startup, right? When you do a 6-minute song and you've now squeezed it into like 3 minutes, okay, you're playing too fast. And that's common. That's very common. Who's that crossing the road? What's she doing playing on the highway? Crazy woman. Oh, well, whatever. I guess you can pick up the speed now. Yeah. But anyway, as I was saying, practice maybe 9 songs. There's 3 that you're set on playing, but practice. Think of it like gears. Practice 3 really, really slow, mellow, quiet songs. They don't have to necessarily be ballads, but something like 80 beats per minute or less. Like really, 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 really. Think like Coldplay meets Johnny Cash, something like that. You know what I mean? Like lower key. Nothing. Whatever. Or upper beat Johnny Cash. Lower beat Johnny Cash or upper beat Johnny Cash, right? Think about that. Now, that gives you a lot of range right there. Okay? Ballads are great for jam nights because it's a great place to test your ballad skills. But I would avoid doing more than 1 ballad in the night, unless they're upper raunchy ballads that people are going to get up and dance to. A nice middle ground, let's say, would be like a Bruce Springsteen kind of set. So you went from, let's say, a light jazz set or a folk set or a country set, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson kind of stuff, lower gear Johnny Cash, like his more mellow tunes. You go from that to, say, maybe like a mid-range 80s pop, Bruce Springsteen kind of sound, then you're okay. Which the songs I got for that tonight would be, if it's just there's no way I'll be able to play that heavy tonight. Which again, for me, it's not heavy, but for the I got people from 18 to 80 in there, and it really depends on what genre's sitting in there, right? In majority, the 18-year-olds, I'm gonna rock their faces off, but the 80 years old, they might enjoy the Aha's Take on Me. What was the second song I was gonna do? Hungry Like the Wolf might be a little bit on the raunchy side for them. And then Dancing in the Dark, Bruce Springsteen. So that's alternative set number 2, which was going to be set number 1, and Nemo Rasputin and were going to be de facto set number 2, but I switched it around. It's like, no, I want to play the hyper songs. That's my thing. I don't play low key. I want people up and dancing. I'm gonna have them going la 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 la. Let's disco. I'm gonna be singing in a pretty heavy voice tonight. Not like what they call that really heavy voice metal. I forgot like the growl metal or whatever. No, it's not gonna be that, but it's gonna be. You're gonna know a man is singing. Very Teresa's. Teresa's, however they say that metal band from Finland. They're like, oh man and beyond, like that kind of stuff, right? I'm gonna be singing, well, like the Rasputin song, the way they do it. So that should be pretty hyper. That's going to be very masculine, very powerful, very get up and dance girls. And really, the Rasputin song is a very flirtatious song if you think about it. It's a dark song in some ways, but it's a very promiscuously, well, it's about Rasputin, right? The Russian, the legendary Russian Rasputin. If you don't know about him, you got two things. It's folk battle metal mixed in with some historic history. You know what I mean? Rasputin, what a character he was. Like a total tyrant, but yet a womanizer, whatever. And that's what the song is about. And then he gets, for all his betrayals, and because he was such a madman, they killed him. They try to kill him in quite a few different ways, actually. So, like, back in the 70s, there was and you got to watch that one. I didn't know where this song came from. I saw the Teresa's video maybe about a month or two ago, and I was just like, this song freaking rocks. But why do I know that theme? The rah Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. I'm like, what? Where does that come from? It's like, I know these guys didn't write this song. That I know. Oh, there's a mic out. Nice. You know, chilly on the mic tonight. Nah, not too bad. So I'm like, who are these guys? So I looked for an acoustic cover of the song. There's another guy, a British guy. He does a very, very mellow version of it. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. That's the chords he's using. I'll kind of double back on that. I'll crossbreed it between the heavy stuff and that. So it's not too over, so it comes off on the acoustic, right? And then I do another search for it, and here's this African-American guy with this giant fro and this gray beard dancing around with these, hoochie girl singers in the background singing the Rasputin song called Boney. His name is Boney M. And the second I heard it, like, I got a flashback as a kid to 1979 listening to the radio. I'm like, I remember that. Oh my God, it's so bad. And then you look at the contrast between them and Teresa's. It's a disco song. It's a disco folk song. It's so funny. And I'm like, I love what they did with the place. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah. It's like, yeah. But no matter which version you live on, it's just good. Lyrically, it's good. It's a party song. It's a morbid party song. It's a promiscuous party song. But yeah. Now, I don't think I'm going to be as lucky as the Teresa's band and having those beautiful Russian women dancing in bikinis in front of me. I'm not expecting that tonight. But if I can get a couple of them out on the dance floor, I don't care what they look like. Really, that's not my goal. My goal is I want to see people out on the dance floor. And if I can just get them a little la 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 sing along, if I could get that out of them, then if it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. You just go with it. And if it works, it's going to be a crazy, crazy night. It's just going to be very audience interactive. I want to interact with the audience as much as possible. Problem is, I only have 15 minutes to do this. That's the problem with a jam. You just start getting into it. The first 3 songs are like a warm-up, and then you want to keep going, and it's like, yeah, it's somebody else's turn now. Next, you're a rock star for 15 minutes. There you go. You had your fun. Get off the damn stage. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think if people really listen to the lyrics, I think they're gonna I'm gonna see a lot of people laughing and having a good time with the Rasputin song for sure. If they really listen to the Nemo lyrics, I think they're going to be breathtaking by them because it's so dark, it's so romantic. What I call goth romance metal. It's Nightwish, right? So it's like goth romance operatic metal, right? Arranged for the acoustic guitar. But I got a little story in front of it, about what it's about. So it's another folklore song, but it's metal. And the last song is also a folklore song as well. How so? Well, the Call of the Mountains. It's very, it's a Swiss-German band called Evoluti that wrote it about 10 years ago. And it's got a Gaulish, Celtic theme to it about the Swiss Alps. So it's a beautiful, beautiful freaking song. No matter when it would have been written, it's a timeless song. You could sing the song another 100 years down the road, and it might become a folk song done a different way. It's just a really, really good song. But it has a lot of folklore to it, connection with nature and history and stuff like that. Very beautiful lyrics to it. And that one, my goal is to inspire people, not so much to dance, but just to enjoy it. Just to be taken by it. So hopefully they'll like the energy off of that one, because that song is pretty high energy too, especially near the end. There's a lot of hooting and hollering on that one, and even some yodeling. The yodeling, I wonder how that's going to go over. Like, I'm interested, you know what I mean? Because no matter whatever anybody else is doing tonight, no one's going to be doing what I'm doing tonight. I will stand out one way or another, and that's good. I mean, that's my goal with these things. Also, too, sometimes like, you get a surprise and people really freak out. They really like it. Then you put a check mark by that song. You say, add that into your next list when you get the long show. Like a 3-hour gig or something. Then you could drop off those old boring songs that you've done to death. You know what I mean? And not that you don't like it, but I do like, trying to do newer stuff as much as possible. Back in the 90s when I was in my rock and roll bands, metal bands, that was one thing that people loved about our band was we did everything that was really almost for its time up to date. Like some of the songs were less than a year old, and they're like, wow, like everybody else is still playing Led Zeppelin, which, don't get me wrong, I love playing Led Zeppelins. I've yet to do the Immigrant Song. I really want to do that one, but I might need help with that one to really pull it off. But you can do it. That would be a fun crowd pleaser song, there's no doubt about that. But people like new stuff too. It's like, oh, it's great you did just a better version of what the other three people did, you know what I mean? Or a worse version or whatever. Okay, I get that. That's why when you go with new stuff, you almost can guarantee nobody will be singing it. The first jam night I did last year was the first time I was on stage, and since, I hate to say almost 10 years, since I played those last gigs at the Danford Hotel. I missed that, playing in my little hometown, but the hotel is closed, right? Speaking of, I'm just passing the Brennan's Hill Hotel right here. If they had their own PA, it'd be awesome to be able to play there. But that's an older crowd. That's a Waylon Jennings crowd there, Johnny Cash crowd at the rowdy side, maybe. You know what I mean? Because I'd say the average age there is probably going to be people in their 60s. Right here, the age varies. I would say the average age is mid-20s to 30s. Big difference, right? Big difference. Know your genre. That said, if I know who's sitting in there, I could pull out the old stuff too. I just have to learn a couple of new songs, which no problem. And it's not like I don't like those songs. I love playing Johnny Cash songs. I love playing The Boy Named Sue. The hooting and hollering you get on that one. Now, I do a good Johnny Cash. I really do. I'm going to have to do some Johnny Cash songs. The problem is I played so many Johnny Cash songs over the years. I mean, everybody will be singing and dancing to that one. But every weekend somebody plays it. You know what I mean? So my goal is to get out of the doing what everybody else is doing. Not in the fact that I'm like, I want to be edgy and original that much. It's just, I want something new. I want to bring you something new, introduce you to something new. Again, when you're doing other people's covers, does it really matter? You might as well play what you enjoy, because it's like, you're doing other people's songs, they're not yours. It's different if you wrote the songs yourselves. And I will do, I have done some originals, but they're all originals off my first album, the Not Reg Me in the Raw album, which I've just released on my Nimbit. It's not promoted yet, but it's there. It will be on this channel. There will be links to the song. I put basically the songs in video format, just like basically a picture avatar of the album cover, and then you can just listen to it. And if you really like it, you want to support it and help me as a musician, there will be links to my Nimbit down below, not in this video, but in the upcoming videos, or maybe by the time you see this video. And that can help this channel, that can help me, God knows my poor workhorse of a guitar back there needs to be replaced. The guitar's held up well. I gotta say that Ibanez has held up well over the years. But the pickup's shot. My $60 replacement Dean Marketing pickup, I almost got that sucker whittled away with the pick. I've yet to put a scratch on the guitar with the pick. There's no pick guard on that guitar. And I've had the guitar since probably 2003, 2004, 2005. I kind of forget when I bought it. And I'll be honest with you, the strings were just high enough that I could really thrash on the guitar without scratching the crap out of it. I mean, there's superficial swirl scratches on there, but until you get closer, you can't tell. But that Dean pickup that sits in the sound hole, the bottom of that pickup was almost completely whittled away. The tip of the pick just hits the beginning of it and the trailing edge of that pickup, that Dean pickup, and it's like there's almost nothing left to it. I'm like, oh my God, if I don't make enough money to replace that thing soon, it's going to fall out of the guitar. It's like, it's hilarious, but terrifying at the same time. I'm going to be on stage one night and it's like, you're just going to, what happened? His pickup just fell on the floor. Okay. Yeah, that happens. The internal pickups, I got it going, but then it shorted out again. It just is what it is. And it's not worth it to replace. Don't get me wrong, as a workhorse guitar for reliability, tuning stability, it's done me well. Is it the best acoustic guitar ever? Does it have acoustic and tuning issues? Not too bad. I mean, it is a polyethylene covered guitar. So it's not, that's why it's held up so well. It's not a satin finish guitar, which would give me brilliant tone. But the second you change by 1/10 of a degree in the room, your guitar's starting to go out of tune. The E and the B start going out, or the D goes out, right? One quick fix you can do is go to a heavier gauge string. But it's just, when you got lots of humidity, guitars go out. It's just, live guitars are not the same as studio guitars. Live guitars rarely sound anywhere near as good as your studio guitar. But that said, the live guitars hold up. And there's a big hole. That's what I'm after. That's reliability is a big one. For jam nights, I don't sweat it too much. If something goes wrong, I'll just use the house guitar. But I've seen other jam night musicians, hosts. I've seen their videos on, this is their take on it is, if you go to a jam night, bring your own instrument. And I'm like, well, that's kind of rude. It's like, yeah, they'll have an instrument there, but you should really bring your own. I agree with that. You should really bring your own because you're going to play the best on your own equipment most of the time, unless your equipment is real junk. One thing about this Ibanez, I've had very professional pro guitar players, nobody you would know, but pro in the sense that these guys, they make a living at being a musician, play this guitar and go, the action on this thing is awesome. Who set it up for you? I said, me. I said, wow. He says, I bought, I won't say what brands, because I don't remember, but I bought this brand, that brand, and it didn't play like that. I had to take it to a Luther. I said, but every acoustic guitar is like, even if you buy a $5,000 Taylor, it's probably going to need a setup to your specification. Most of them leave too much meat on the bridge, and there's usually too much meat on the nut, because you might go to a heavier gauge string, you might go to a lighter gauge string, and they just want to split the difference so that the action's high enough so you don't get any buzzing whatsoever. But that usually means the upper fret access past the 7th fret is usually unplayable. Not this guitar. You can play Yngwie on this guitar. If you can play Yngwie, you can do it on. If I handed Yngwie this guitar, he could easily, plugged in or not, play Black Star, Beyond the Sun, or Rising Force on it. And every solo, he could do a 50-minute solo on that guitar, and he would say, it's a piece of shit, but it's okay. What's really, really awesome about it, though, is that it plays. You know what I mean? Because, I'm Yngwie, my standards are a little higher to you plebs, but still, it's okay. It's really, 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 really good. You know what I mean? That's my Yngwie thing. But it's a piece of shit, but it's really good piece of shit. That's what he would say. And I would take on it. I'd be like, he touched my guitar. He's got finger fungus on my guitar. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. That'd be very cool to jam with Yngwie. I think that'd be very cool. But tell you the truth, if I jam with Yngwie, I don't want him to play the guitar. I heard him play mandolin in a video. I want to hear him play violin, and I want to hear him play mandolin. I just want to see what he does with it. I would love to see that. I want to see him shredding on that, because it's just, like I say, it's offering something different, right? And that's my goal, is always to give people something different every time I play live. Now, let me tell you about these gigs I may or may not get. Now, almost all of the bar owners nowadays, because of the cost of running a business, the days of the bartender saying, yes, we pay this much or that much per show is very, very difficult to get. There are places that do it, but you got to turn over a lot of rocks. I called probably the better part of 10 to 15 places this week. I got a hold of 3. One place was, the lady wasn't always that overly friendly, but I'm going to give you a couple of tips here. And this is just, from what I remember of dealing with bartenders and bookies and stuff like that, is that you don't know what kind of day they're having. And a lot of times, people who serve the public are in a really bad mood when you call them and pester them. So kill them with kindness, even if they're not really reciprocating. That's why I tend to like to deal with people face to face. But what I do is I just want to find out the info. Does your establishment hire? And they're like, well, you can play here, but we don't pay at all. Or you play here, you play for the door, you sell tickets. Or in this case, it was, no, you pay us to play. If you want, we showcase people. So it's kind of like a talent show type of thing, where you get an hour, you showcase, and then you play your original songs, you have a CD party, whatever it's going to be. And they're like, yeah, like that. I said, oh, okay, well, I'm not interested in that. There is a venue for pay to play, but that's for people who have a following, and you're going to make money off of something else, or there's you want to film a promo or something like that. Then that makes sense. That totally makes sense. But for a guy like me who doesn't have a following, right? I'm not going to pay to play. Jam nights, I'm already paying the gas money to get there, and buying drinks in the establishment. I don't drink any alcohol. That's the other thing. Play sober. You'll enjoy it so much more. That's one thing I've noticed. I don't want to drink on stage anymore. I used to. Right now it's because I drive, but before everybody else drove, I was always taking a bus to the gig. Or what we would do is drop our equipment off in the day and then cab it home. You know what I mean? But now it's like I got to drive everywhere. So therefore, I lose my license. It's not just the jam nights that go for me. My whole livelihood goes. This thing is, I can't afford to lose my license. So it's not worth it. But that said, I play a better gig when I'm sober. Now, getting back to booking this gig or gigs. Now, this place, the owner and I agreed that she would give me a gig. But like I said last year, if they don't get back to you, don't be upset about it. Just move on to other places. They haven't yet, so it's been almost 8 months or 9 months since they said, yeah, we'll book you in. But the place is already booked up all the time. It's a very kind of cliquey place that way, where you get the same people playing there almost all the time. And they tend to book up the place, and then they forget about you. It's nothing personal. And sometimes they'll say, oh, yeah, we'll book you. And they just don't want you in the establishment at all. But they're too nice to tell you. So just, don't take it personal. Don't worry about it at all, to tell you the truth. Just ask, okay? Until you get a date and time, ask other places. Now, this other place, 2 places I got a hold of, one was called Irene's, and I thought it would, okay, tell me what kind of pub you think. I've been asking everybody this thing. Okay, when you hear the name Irene, what kind of pub is that? Most of you, are you going to say Irish pub? Okay, I talked to one girl today at the hall. She was a lesbian pub? Like, where'd you get? I was like, where'd you get that from? When I was talking, it was just really, really funny the way she said. Is it a lesbian pub? Maybe she could have been trolling me too. She is quite sinister. But I was just like, no, it's Irene. That's my grandmother's name was Irene. It's an Irish name. Yeah, And then the next thing was, when I'm talking to the bartender, I'm like, yeah, this is like what kind of music you take on bands? It's like, yeah, we're pretty booked up, but might be like 4 months before you can get something. But talk to this guy, send him your stuff on our website, and work from there. And I said, okay, well, what kind of establishment do you have? What's a typical night? What do you pay? Or what's he says, well, it's you make the door, you get all the door, okay? They don't pay you nothing, you get the door. And I said, oh, okay, well, what's an average price that you charge at the door? $2, $3, $5, whatever. They said, no, 10. I said, oh, okay, wow. So I said, what's your capacity there on it? They said 135 people. So in theory, if you could pack 135 people in there in the night, you're going to make $1,350. I'm not expecting that. on a kind of a no-name band, one-man band, and the one-man band might not get a Friday or Saturday night. So it's hard to say. You might be on a Wednesday, and you might get 4 people. I doubt you'd get that few, but a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll sneak in before the cover charge, and when they do, here's what happens. You get 8 people or whatever, 4 people that pay, and you got 62 people there that didn't pay, right? The cheapos, But then, if you get 8 people there, you make $80, whatever. If you get 60 people there, at least you paid your gas. You get 30 people, well, at least you paid your drinks or whatever. If you make, let's say, 80 people there, you make $800. You know what I mean? Like that's you 50, $500. 30, you make $300. 135 people, you make $1,350. I want to play there. I can understand why it's booked up for 4 months. You know what I mean? Possibly. But there could be cancellations. That happens too. What's your name? And now somebody, well, if I can't play there for 4 months, or 6 months, forget about it. No. Book it now. That's what you're doing. And just keep booking other places. So by the time it comes around, you'll have, okay, well, I know this week I'm playing there. 6 months down the road, and 6 months plus a week, I'm playing there and there. And then, 7 months later, I'm playing there, there, and there. And all of a sudden, you set up like a mini tour. And that's what I'm trying to do for this year, is set up a mini tour. And my goal is to play a well-paying show once a week minimum, and a mediocre show. My goal is to make at least 175 a night. That takes a long time to set that up. Why? Because it's a business. There's no free lunch. You're going to put in a lot of footwork, and the phone can do a lot for you. Emails can do a lot for you. A lot of stuff. Good stuff. Hang on. Got the wacky corner here. And, didn't do it. Everybody's tight to my bumper. It's like it's a 55 zone. I'm doing 70, and they're like tight to my bumper. But I'm almost where I need to be anyway, so. Very, very, very excited. Okay. Ooh, slow her down. Slow her down. The alignment on this vehicle is not good enough to take corners too fast. Okay, so I'm going to be a little... Oh, and it's a green light too. Nice. You can watch this green light, because if you go too fast on this green light, you're going to get a fine. Oh, shit. Well, I almost hit the line. Yeah, I almost stopped at the line. I thought I was going to make it. Should have went faster. It's always ways. Too fast, too slow, too fast, too slow. Everybody's always in a rush. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm working on now this week. Because I have this week off with my other job, I really, really want to start setting up jobs. I know it might be a struggle between now and August or September, but at least in August and September, I got potential money coming in. Because I don't know what YouTube's going to be like on my other channel. It's not good. I've lost about 98% of my income on the other channel, which means it's barely noticeable. I mean, whatever, that's the problem when you get into geopolitics and stuff like that, and all the YouTube algorithms and all that. So, it is what it is. So I have to find another job anyway. So not only do I have to find another job, but I'm like, okay, well, I still have the time now. I could just go back to labor, trading, time for money. And there's a value in that. I mean, if you can make $20 an hour, that works out fairly well. But the problem, you're still trading time for money, right? So my goal is not to just keep trading time for money. I need to find other things. That's why I'm doing the Nimbin thing. That's why I'm writing this week I'm working on, well, it's been a little bit slow, but I got my second album ready to come out, which is just going to be an instrumental, very short-ranged instrumental. I don't even know if I'm going to release it as an album. I might, but it's really going to be more like, think of it like short, like minute and a half max instrumentals, right? And who knows? You might say, well, no one's going to buy that. Well, it could become theme music for something, in a movie or something, right? And that's what I'm after there. So there's a value there too. And then on top of that, there's another thing that going on is that if people like my songs, my older songs or whatever, I could possibly make money off of Nimbin, and I could promote it through YouTube. So I'm trying to set up as many streams of income. If you had 10 streams of income only making $100 a month, well, you're going to make $1,000 a month, right? And that's the way I look at these things. You put a lot of work in. It's like farming. You put a lot of work in, and you don't know what you're going to get out of it. And a lot of it is a bust. But on the other hand, you might not make money today. 5 years down the road, that could be bringing you thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Maybe more if you're really, really lucky. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying it can happen if you don't do it. You know what I mean? It's the same if you don't call places up to book or go meet people face to face. Jam nights are a great way to get a gig. If people like your stuff, if they don't like your stuff, whatever. So why keep doing the jam nights? Well, there's a value in this too. Why? Because when I call a place, they say, well, you got anything that you could send us? Well, I just played a jam night here, jam night there. What do you think of this? You know what I mean? Here's my GoPro videos. There you go. So if I get a gig somewhere else, well, technically this jam night will pay for itself somewhere else. So you got to think in those kind of terms of promotion. You know, this is a promotion. This is why you would do pay to play or something like that. So, okay, well. What? Hey, the place can't be packed already. Oh my God, it's packed already. Are you kidding me? Well, that's good. Where the hell do I park? I'm back by the dumpster again. No. I always end up at the dumpster. Oh. I'm going to park. I know where I'm going to park. Well, if it's this packed now and it's not even 8:30. Oh boy. I might have a rowdy crowd tonight. Better put on that. This parking lot is so tight. Thank God this thing is like the shortest wheelbase ever. Again, it's an SUV with a Honda Civic. Will I hit that dumpster? I'll move it if I hit it. It's a Honda Civic with basically in an SUV form, a CRV. I can't believe that. Like there would be no way I would get the road rage van in here this tight, this easily. It would be impossible. Okay, turn that off, and here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then. So anyway, I'm gonna go in. I'm way early, but I don't mind socialize with people. There's usually people there that I talk to anyway. Put keys in pocket, because if you do not, you forget them out here. You guys can't see me. But anyway, I'm going to go in and hopefully I'll have enough video and battery left on this to make the coming home video, and I'll let you know how it went. Yeah, there we go. Have a great night, eh?